this movie, we have a look at a DXF file and a DWG file, actually, of a drawing that we need to create. And there's in the DWG file a 3D rendering of this image as well. So you actually have the image created, the actual surface that needs to be done here as a DWG or the 2D file. So there's a number of ways this could be accomplished. First thing we might want to do is just come here and in some program, and here I'm using a program called Rhino 3D, but if you have AutoCAD or some other modeling program, any program would be able to convert a solid like this or a surface to a mesh. So I'm going to come here, and with this object selected, we're going to go to Mesh from NURBS Object. Here we can determine the number of polygons that will help decide the mesh, and we're just going to set this up here. And now we're going to come in here. Let's see, we're going to select the mesh. I'm going to File, Export Selected. I'm going to save this one here now. And for a mesh file, I'm going to use an STL. There we go. Or you could save it as a DXF or DWG as well. I'm just going to do this one here. So we'll call this, let's see, mesh from surface. All right, now there's a few parameters there you can select. I'm just going to hit OK. Now I'm going to get out of our other program here. Here's the file that represents the part we want to cut. And these are kind of some helpful parts here to show what the sides are going to look like, and from each perspective view, you can see how far below the material these parts are going to go. And here's the overall part, and I'm going to move this to 0, 0. All right, now let's go to another layer. Just created a new layer there. And I'm going to import an STL file. Mesh from surface. See my mesh here. And that doesn't look big enough. Oh, there we go. Okay, we're going to move this to 0, 0. Let's go to our other file here. Copy this one. Paste to our active layer. So we should have the outline of the part here and the surfaces that we wanted to create. And if we look at the thickness of the mesh here, we'll see it's 0.75 inches thick. So this was created with what other parameters were used before. Now we can come here and make sure this is on top of the plate. So currently this is 0.75. We need to make sure our material thickness here is 0.75. I'm going to make it fit my selection here. Now I'm going to move this object to 0 in the side view here. And now that is resting on top of the plate. And again, I'll note that's 0.75 inches thick. Now if I wanted to go here, let's copy this. Go to layer 1. Alright, now I can get rid of these internal components, which under certain circumstances I might use. And we could just make one of these actually and do multi-copy ourselves. I'll just measure the distance here. So everything's 1 inch spacing, so let's forget about all this. Okay, we're going to make this a flat low thickness relief. Now we're going to turn on the mesh layer, and we're going to select that relief in that part. We're going to say apply mesh to relief, and apply, and we'll turn off the other layers, and we will have added whatever is right in that area inside our relief here. We should even see that there's a drop off here as required. All right, now we're going to create copies of this. First of all, let's move it into the material. So now it's resting here inside the material. Now we're going to see that we create a few copies of this. So let's see, multi-copy, and do 1 inch spacing. 1 inch spacing. Start from the lower left-hand corner here. 4. Now we've created this part, and we're only going to spend time toolpathing right where we need it, and not inside of these other areas. Okay. If we wanted to, you can come here and make a relief that is 0.75 in thickness. I'm going to copy this, paste it to the active layer, move it to the bottom of the plate, and we're going to say no, I don't think that'll work with this group. So here's the base relief. Selected all of those. We're going to merge lowest. Since the other one was 0.75 thick, anything lower than that would then be what we see here. Alright, now that's finished calculating. We can actually take these. Alright, let's see here. We're going to select these. And let's move this into 3 here. So now here in layer 1, we should have all of our parts in place here. And as I said, we could have just used sweep 2 rails to create these shapes, but since you already have them, you might as well use what you have there. Now you might even want to come here Let's go ahead and select these. So you can delete those reliefs, so we'll reduce this file size a little. And I've pasted all the contours in here so that if I want to toolpath this, I can select everything here, go to the island fill. Here we have a 1-inch ball nose tool going to 0.75 depth. Must remember had our relief selected. Now let's try that again. We're going to allow the overcut. We'll just pass the edge there. 90%. And now the toolpath will apply, and because we selected these squares along with the shapes that we want to reproduce, the toolpath will apply just in each one of these areas and not to the overall 3D surface. So now here's the toolpaths in place. And we're going to do a simulation here. Well, it looks like I've taken up too many of the resources, but this is a pretty big file, but I think this will achieve what you're trying to do.